and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about some novellas that I think are so underrated and just need more love. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. If you guys didn't know, I am posting videos, or I have been posting videos every day this week, where I pick a specific romance book trope and I give you a ton of recommendations. This is the end of the week, but I do have a playlist with all the videos that I filmed. I've done this series quite a few times on my channel, so I have quite a few recommendation videos that you guys can watch. Today, I thought since it was the last day of Trope Week that we were just gonna do something really chill, and it's actually not a trope at all. It's more so a mosh posh of recommendations. Some novellas that I've read recently that I really loved and I think are like grossly underrated. So you guys know I'm a huge fan of novellas. I tend to get into reading slumps quite often. In fact, I am in a reading slump right now. Like, I cannot finish a full-length novel. My brain, it's just not working for me. So I heavily lean on novellas to really just like read before bed or read really quick when I'm feeling in a reading slump, and they just like, they perk me back up. I love them. I have quite a few videos where I talk about some of my favorite novellas. I think I've done like 3 or 4, so I will leave them down below if you want even more in-depth recommendations. But today we're going to be talking about some that I think are underrated. When I mean underrated, I'm going to be mentioning books that have less than 500 ratings on Goodreads. Less than 500. That's not a lot of ratings whatsoever, and I think so many of these novellas deserve more praise and more attention. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, the first one, I have to give credit where credit is due, and I need to thank Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings. She brought this novella author to my attention recently, and that is Casey Mint. Rachel loves her novellas, and I've heard quite a few really good things about her most recently, but a lot of her novellas don't have a ton of ratings on Goodreads. And one that I think is just so fantastic is Thin Ice by Casey Mint, and that's in her Winter Warmers series, I guess. It's like the second book in her little series. You don't have to read them in order. This one is fabulous. This one only has 199 ratings on Goodreads, and that is a crime. It is an absolute travesty. It is kind of a forbidden age gap office romance, I guess. So our heroine is a professional figure skater, and she ends up having a romance with her coach, who is significantly older than her, and he's like this stoic, grumpy hero, but he completely falls for our heroine, and it follows their forbidden, taboo romance. This one was steamy and sweet, and I'm gonna go out and say it. If you are someone who is into like a praise kink when it comes to your romance books, this one is for you, okay? If I know that so many people have a praise kink, okay? Book Talk has taught me that for sure. So if you're someone who kind of likes that, where it's like the stoic hero that is like an absolute cinnamon roll with our heroine, read this one. It is so good. I'm gonna quickly mention, like as an extra bonus, I recently read The Gift, also by Casey Mint, which is also in her Winter Warmer series, and this one is equally fabulous. It does take place during winter/Christmas time, but I definitely don't think it has to be Christmas for you to read it. Basically, our characters live in this very secluded island. It's very small. So our heroine works in the post office, and she kind of grew up in this small island, and what's really popular about this island is a lot of scientists tend to come and go for their scientific studies, and she ends up like absolutely falling for a scientist at the island. He is another really like grumpy, stoic hero, but he's also really sweet with our heroine, and this one was really cute because our hero was a virgin and so was our heroine, so they really got to share like those little sweet intimate moments with each other, and I loved this one. So the next one is by a popular author, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about this novella that she wrote. So that is Surrender by Risley Adams. Risley Adams writes one of my favorite novellas of all time. It's called Go Deep, and that one receives a ton of love because it's such an amazing novella, and she is a popular author, but nobody really talks about this one, and I don't know why, because it's equally as good. This one is like right over my stipulation. It has 541 ratings, so a little over 500, but I'm still gonna mention it. This follows Yara and Lennox, who were college friends, and they've kind of always danced around their attraction for one another, but they never really wanted to ruin their friendship. So one night at the end of their college career, they decide to like play truth or dare and spin the bottle and have a really like intimate moment with each other. They're both about to start their careers and start their lives in completely different parts of the country, so they end up parting ways. They end up making this pact, like if they are both single within a certain amount of years, they will meet up again and kind of like hook up and see where things go. So that is where the book picks up. They're a little bit older, and our hero contacts our heroine with plane tickets, telling her that he did not forget their deal and that he is flying her over to meet him, and it follows like their very steamy weekend. This has very light BDSM in it and also a little bit of a praise kink, and it is so freaking good and steamy, and Risley Adams writes some of the best novellas. Like I said, a lot of her novellas do get a lot of attention because she's such a great author, but this one, I need more people to read this one. It is so good. I promise you. Okay, the next one I've talked about a ton on my channel because I adore it, and that is Being Hospitable by Mika James. This one has 451 ratings on Goodreads. A crime, an absolute crime. I need everyone to read this one right now. This is one of my favorite sapphic romances ever. This book follows Kiki and Charlie. So Charlie has always had a crush on her brother's best friend, and there is a little bit of an age gap in this romance. So this is a brother's best friend trope. One of our heroines, Kiki, ends up letting Charlie stay at her apartment because it is closer to her job. So they end up becoming roommates, and Charlie uses that as an excuse to like seduce her and kind of like get her to really explore the attraction that they have for one another. It is a little bit forbidden because it is a brother's best friend trope, but I really liked this one. It also has very light BDSM in it as well. Very light though. And yeah, I just think everyone needs to read it. If you are looking for a good sapphic romance, this one is fabulous. Okay, this next one, nobody ever talks about, okay? And I just need to. And it is called A House East of Regent Street. And this one has 18 ratings on Goodreads. It's so good though. This one I found on Script. I listened to the audiobook. It's like a 2-hour audiobook. I was going through a reading slump and I was reading like all of these very short audiobooks. And this one was recommended to me based on like some other books that I was reading. So I decided to pick it up. It's a historical romance novella, and our hero is a soldier. He's like a war veteran or something like that, and he has a lot of money. So he ends up purchasing this ex-bordello and is trying to turn it into a business and really turn it into kind of like a Wall Street situation. But there is another bidder who wants this house and wants to keep it as a bordello, and she actually wants to be a madam. And that's where our heroine Cleo comes in. She is a former lady of the night, if you will, and she used to work at this location, and she really wants to buy it and kind of create a safe place for sex workers where she can kind of take care of them and run this business. So she doesn't really have the money to buy it off of our hero, but when our hero meets her, he is instantly entranced by her and ends up striking a deal that if she spends like 3 days with him doing whatever he wants, then she can have the house, the property. She can have it all, okay? He will sell it to her. I don't even think he offers to sell it to her. I think he like offers to give it to her. So yeah, it follows their 3 steamy nights, and they just kind of explore their attraction for each other. This also has very light BDSM in it. I didn't realize all of these novellas have that trope in it, but they do. Apparently it's something I like. So yeah, this one is a good historical romance. It's very different because even though it takes place during Regency time, there's like no dukes, earls, wallflowers. It's like a very different view of historical romances, and I loved it. I sure did. All right, the last one I want to recommend is another sapphic romance, and that is Budding Romance by Laura Kinsey. Laura Kinsey is a historical romance novella author on Kindle Limited that I just think is so good, but her covers are like not that great, so I feel like not a lot of people give her a ton of attention. Like, one has 104 ratings on Goodreads. So it follows our heroines Nicolette and Doretha. One of our heroines is a headmistress to a ladies' finishing school, and she ends up hiring a gardener to spruce up the place before she opens for business. So that is where our other heroine comes in. She is a gardener, and she kind of lives on the campus taking care of the property, and they explore their attraction, and it follows their romance in this historical romance setting. It is really, really sweet. I feel like there's so many good conversations in this book about aftercare, and I loved it. This isn't like a two-part novella. Like, there is this novella where they fall in love and form a romance, and then there's like an epilogue novella where they go on like vacation to like Italy together or something, and it's really sweet as well. So I would recommend both. I think that this is a great sapphic romance, and I think Laura Kinsey, again, writes very unique historical romances. It does take place during the Regency setting, but it's outside of like nobility and your typical wallflower duke romance, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love a unique historical romance setting. I love a novella, and this one just like ticked all of those boxes. All right. I know this one was only 5 recommendations, but I hope you found some good ones, and hopefully these novellas get a little bit more love. That's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this week of Trope Week. I always have so much fun at filming these videos. They're my favorite videos to film. I will be posting more videos leading up to Valentine's Day. Tomorrow, we're starting a new series where I read some of BookTube's favorite books. So I'm going to pick some of my favorite booktubers, and I will be posting like back-to-back reading vlogs where I read all of their favorites, and I think it's going to be fun. Well, I know it's going to be fun because I already edited it, and I can't wait to show you guys. So there you have it. I hope you guys are all having a lovely, lovely day. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!